Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear, discover a sound uniquely your own, and cut through the noise with your host, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Welcome, welcome. This is our brand new show.
That it is.
Sharpen the Axe. And I'm Paul Berezetsky, and I'm here with Eric Lucero.
Hey, guys.
And Florentino Buenaventura. And
Yo. I guess I'm going to jump in on this one this time around. But I'm off camera. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to our good friends Calvin and AJ and Adam and all the crew over at Pitbull Audio, where they are just an amazing crew, and they do it. In fact, Eric, you know a little bit of something about that company, right?
That's true. I work there 5 days a week during the business week. I'm always there to help you out there.
Yeah, definitely. One of our favorite stores, if not the favorite store that we always go to. Actually, that's all we only see you guys nowadays, man.
Yeah,
that's everything. You got everything there. You just got picked up a new line of guitars, right?
Yeah, we let's see. We just got Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel. We got Fender now, so all the
That's
new
the one
Fender
I was
offsets.
talking about.
Yeah.
That's the one. All the other ones are amazing guitars. Of course, you got the high end too. The Mayonas guitars.
Oh yeah, and Skervensen too, which is a hard to find shredder axe. But come on in, we got one in there in the store for you to try.
Legators and all the other stuff.
Oh yeah, we got Legator as well. Yeah,
and, so
ESP and all the other shredder E brands too.
So yeah, it's an amazing time, and in fact, give a shout out to Billy Sheehan, who was actually officially your first show, but
yeah,
it wasn't live. It was not live. You guys got a chance to get it down there. Talk to Billy about his what's the name of the bass again?
Oh, those are Yamahas. Those are his Yamaha Attitude is his signature line. Yeah,
I was going to say Aggressor, but it's Attitude, so that's pretty cool.
very cool bass.
Yes, yeah. Especially that Lucite one he had, that custom winery dog.
that you were drooling over?
I'm still obsessing over it. That's not going to go away.
I'm surprised he didn't make it out of the the building with it. Just like I see the picture of you with your hand on it, and he still got his hand on it. He knows better than to trust you around.
Yeah. He wouldn't let me hold it on my own. He had to keep a hand on it. I don't blame him.
Yeah. So so it's a new show, and I'm excited to have this on the network. And we're going to be, Paul, why don't you tell them a little bit about what the show's about?
So we're gonna use Eric's access to all the manufacturers that constantly send them just top of the line guitar gear, just the most delicious pedals. And he's gonna bring different stuff in every show: pedals, guitars, maybe amplifiers if you feel like lugging them up here.
Might as well. Hell yeah.
We want that quadruple Marshall stack up here.
Totally.
ASAP, man.
The fun part is going to be once we get an Ampeg SVT tube in, just watching me carry that up the stairs in the studio here.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Which one's going to be heavier, that or the Mesa Boogies, the ones with like the big diesel cabs?
Oh, man, nothing beats the weight of an Ampeg tube head. The Mesas are getting lighter and lighter.
Yeah, so the idea, that's good to know. I have a Mesa from like the 90s. It's still heavy.
Still a backbreaker.
It's still and it's not big. It's a combo. It's like a one way 12 combo amp, so it's not huge, but it's chunky.
Yeah, they're known for the overbuild thing, which makes for quality construction and a great cabinet. But yeah, you might slip a disc or two moving them around over the years. Well,
one of of all the guitar gear out there, the best thing that I ever invested in is the foldable hand cart.
Yeah,
that thing is. Yeah. That thing is worth 1,000 pedals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the rock and roller carts, or even just a good old dolly with a strap on it or two will do you good.
Yeah, excellent. So anyway, the idea behind this show is to discover and explore all this cool gear and help you, the listener, find maybe a sound that resonates with you, maybe something that you didn't know was out there, or maybe you did but didn't know the full capabilities of it. So whether you were looking to emulate somebody's classic tone or somebody's original tone, or you want to come up with something all your own that no one's ever heard before, this is a perfect place to tune in and discover what's out there.
And aside from just new gear, we're going to go over some classic gear, some of the cool stories behind all that, and also down the line, also some tips and tricks and maintenance kind of stuff, so you can take care of your gear at home and on the road.
Yep. And we're also going to be talking to some of the companies that manufacture the stuff, and maybe get some cool tips from them, and the stories of how things came into being.
Yeah, absolutely. Hear it straight from the horse's mouth, right?
Yep. So why don't we? You want to kind of just dive into it, because you got some tasty pedals here.
I do. I got some cool stuff in front of me. First in line it's all pedals today. First in line is the Mojo Hand Effects Rook Overdrive. Next in line we got the Cusack Music Tap-A-Whirl Tremolo. And third in line we have the Earthquaker Devices Transmisser, which is a modulated reverb. And attached to that one, the Mission Engineering EP1 expression pedal, which will control the frequency on the transmisser. And we're running a Les Paul and just going direct, right?
We're running an Epiphone Les Paul with Seymour Duncan, the jazz pickups.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Jazz and JB, right?
Jazz and JB, yeah. And we're running that into a Vox Valvetronics VTX amp. It's kind of a... Are you familiar with these?
That's the solid state ones, right?
It's solid state. I think it's like a hybrid. I think it's supposedly got a tube and a power section or something, or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
But it's a solid state modeling amp, so it can do a bunch of sounds of a bunch of different stuff. So I have it set to emulate kind of like a Fender Blackface amp right now, and just kind of clean and flat, no reverb, since we got a monster reverb pedal to try out. So just kind of clean. That's it. A
good neutral start.
Yep.
So we'll start with the Rook here. So it's nice and easy. An overdrive that has an active EQ. So the treble and bass on there. You turn it up, it is boosting, but it's actually cutting when you turn it down. Aside from that, you got your usual suspects, the gain knob and your output volume. And in the middle, there is a three-way mini switch that is different clipping stages. In the up position, it's more of a classic sound, typical harmonic overdrive. Middle position, there's no diode, so it's big, clean, the loudest of them.
Is that more like a boost kind of thing?
You can set it that way if you are careful on the output volume and low gain it. Which actually is kind of a cool feature of this. Is if you just wanted to have like a treble boost, you can take down a little bit of the bass, turn up the treble to where you need it, and just have the volume up with the gain down. And and bottom of that mini toggle is an extra gain stage for a little bit extra. So how about we just give it a shot here?
Yeah.
We'll start in the top, and I'll set it neutral for now on the EQ. I'd say. Let's go to the middle, which I know it's testing this thing out before it gets a little louder, so. Treble up a little bit, but since we're in the loudest of the settings here, let's show how wide that bass and treble controls can be since they're active. Just turning the bass up. Turning it on.
Darken.
Oh yeah, getting all it is. Real quick on the treble control. So you can get real screechy if you wanted to. And even do that, was it Brian May that did the sort of treble booster thing, right?
Oh, nice.
Just turning it treble back down. Get lo-fi with it. Turn the bass up. Pretty wide range of control on there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and what I like about this type of overdrive is you hear kind of all the distinct. Even you're strumming a full chord, but you can kind of hear all the individual notes in there. It's not just a mishmash.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a lot of higher gain distortions. It'll become that sort of like 5150 sort of sound, just everything wiped and gained out. But this one you can actually get great definition in there, and you can with that sort of active bass and treble, you can let it sit in the mix right where you need it to. Set your place down in it. Let's try the third mode. So I like as you'll find out over the course of the show, I like my sound to be very sharp and aggressive. So do it the way I would. A little bit of bass down, treble up. That's in the bottom of the toggle switch positions, which adds that extra gain stage.
Very, very cool.
Right?
And do you know, is there anything you could tell us about the company?
Mojo Hand Effects, they got a lot of great stuff out there, and they've done great on some boxing up some emulations of cool stuff. Like I have a drive that's based after the Dumble. The Dumble sort of circuit, which is one of those unobtainium amps that cost $85,000 one or two times you ever see one on eBay or Reverb. They just came out with a Ottawa envelope filter that is kind of modeled after the Mutron. So maybe next time we get some Mojo Hand in, we can go give that one a shot.
Sure.
And they got a variety of drives, a couple delays like the Mirror Ball. They've got a good variety of stuff. It's well built in USA. It's good stuff.
What do they retail for?
Wow, off the top of my head, actually, I can't remember. I'll look it up during our break, and I'll come back with some prices after. But a lot of the boutique market stuff tends to go in between 100, 200.
Yeah.
So yeah, safe to assume in there.
You could kind of almost tell by looking at a pedal.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, true. You get the little mini, and some of the Chinese-made stuff that's just kind of looks like, that looks like $89 worth. But then again, those little import pedals are just lifesavers for a lot of people, and a lot of them do a great job, and I'm sure they'll start showing up on here before too long. Yeah,
I'm always down for a bargain pedal. That's my weakness.
Yeah,
because obviously I love awesome sounding pedals, but sometimes it's hard to justify a $200-300 pedal, unless you're like really gigging out seriously and making money off it, or if you just can't help yourself. But short of that, cool bargain stuff that maybe is not well known is always gets me excited.
And I've had customers that come in and basically, they want a pedal board and like 4 pedals for less than $500. That gets the job done. It's easy to do, and you guys can always stop into Pitbull or give us a call, and I'll work something out for you if you just need a little fly rig or something like that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next.
Yeah, what's next?
So next we got the Cusack Music Tap-A-Whirl. Now this is quite a feat of engineering here, man. This is a tremolo, and it's got a lot of cool features on it. Endless cool features, really. It's 3 banks of 8 waveforms each, and if you open it up, maybe I can show the camera here. What's cool is that it has all your usual sine, triangle, sawtooth, and other waveforms, but if you can see by the time you get to bank 3, you got some cool sort of sequence sounds. Well, they sound like a sequencer, but it's really rhythmic stuff. And then bank 2, you got some stuff that ramps up for cool sort of volume swells. You can also break it. There's tap tempo on it, which is always a great feature. But if you hold it down, you can set it to slow down or speed up, and you just take it off when it hits it where you need it to be.
Nice, almost like a Leslie control kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
nice.
like the brake on a Leslie. You also can do subdivisions on it, and inside you can rewire it to go stereo with a tip ring sleeve cable, kind of like what we're using on the Expression on the Mission EP1 to go to other pedals. But enough chat. Let's hear how this thing sounds. Right?
Let's do it.
So I'll speed it up a little. Let's try bank 2, something at random on there. Number 5 looks good to me. Driving it with the Mojo hand with the Rook just to make it sound a little cooler. But we'll slow it down a little and go to bank 3, which has that sequence sort of stuff, just so you can hear how wild this thing can get.
That's cool.
Oh, here we go. So I'll set it to fast speed. There we go. Now it gets a little weird, little sequency. And I'll try the break.
That's a cool way to end the song.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, kind of like slowing down on a Moog or something that has a sequence going. You can do some cool little shifts with it. So I'll try going back up with it.
So how does that work? You hold it down once and it goes up. You tap it twice and hold it and it goes down.
You hold it down once and it always goes slows down first. So you can kind of let's see if I can get it to slow down. And if I press it again, it should go fast again.
Okay, so if you want to speed up from wherever you want, hit it once for slow down, and then a second time to speed up from right from there.
I haven't figured a way around that. Maybe we can get Cusack on the phone sometime to answer. But it goes down first, and as soon as you start to feel it slowing down, you have to kind of hit it again and go right back up. Maybe there is a way to reverse that. None that I'm aware of, but I'm sure there is. This thing is so well engineered.
Mm-hmm. We're getting some really weird harmonics there now.
Yeah. Like the way it decays out. It does have that sharp, like I said, those sharp harmonics that come out in the beginning, and then it fades out by the time your sustain starts falling off.
And then if you just want a nice classic kind of 50s trem.
Those will all be in bank 1.
And what is that option knob again?
It does a number of different things depending how you have it set. It can control how the tap will be divided. It controls the fade in and the break speed. Oh, there we go. So if you want the slow down, the break down to go a lot faster, or the break up to go faster, however you want to set it. Yeah, pretty neat engineering. And what's cool is Cusack has 2 or 3 more in the Tap-A series, including a delay, and I think they also... Oh, wow, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they have, I think, 2 or 3 more of the Tap-A series, and then they have their Tremolo in its own enclosures. And they also make amps as well, which hopefully we'll get to check out someday. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, Cusack Music, putting out amazing stuff. Now, how about we hop to the third? Yeah, this thing
things
is
are about to get spacey in here.
Oh, yeah. This is the Earthquaker Devices Transmisser. So it is a modulated reverb with extra long decay. So everything just sounds epic through this thing. For controls on top, you got your decay. The darkness is sort of like a dampening. So you turn it counterclockwise, it's brighter. You turn it clockwise, it's darker sounding. It has a frequency next, which is kind of like the frequency of a filter, like on a synth, like I mentioned earlier on a Moog. But we have that plugged in, or we have our expression pedal for Mission Engineering plugged in, which controls the frequency. After that, we have the warp, which is the modulation control, rate for the rate of that modulation, and then mix for your blend. Let's set everything in roughly neutral with the frequency open.
And can we hear that on clean?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Welcome to the cathedral of your mind. Nice.
Yeah, it's not definitely not your usual reverb, but if you're searching for something that's different from your usual spring, cavern, plate, or anything like that, I mean, this thing makes just one note sound epic, held out pretty well. Well, that was many notes, but still, same idea.
Does it have a tame setting? Or does it only do crazy?
It pretty much only does crazy. So let's even set it for like its shortest, slow rate. Set the warp at middle and the decay at its lowest. No, that opened up.
That's still super long.
Yeah, right? Just keeps on going. You can kind of tame it if you set the mix back a little.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I need that in my life.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so much cool stuff coming out that you can control with an expression pedal, like the Mission Engineering now. Like on my own rig, I use it to change delay times. So I set it all the way back. Well, at least I was on camera to be able to see with the toe up or heel down, toe up, with the shortest delay time, and I use it to sound like a chorus. And then I want it to echo out. I, bring it down like that. But
Now, does this bypass whatever setting you have on the pedal? Because I see you have the frequency turned all the way up. Does that need to stay there for the pedal to have full range, or does it?
Yeah, it max out whatever. If you want the full range of whatever control is available, then yeah, you have to kind of set it at its ceiling.
Oh, but then that's cool. If you want a narrower band to play around with, you could dial it back, and then your total heel will be a narrower.
Yeah. So if you're say like the Electro-Harmonix cockfight, the cocked wah sort of sound, there are some players that are setting it so it maxes out at that, like, we mentioned Brian May already, his somewhere halfway up sound, so they can just hit that heel back, toe up all the way just to right where they want it.
You don't have to try and get too precise with your foot.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll save you a little bit of ankle bandaging if you don't have to set it up all the way. But yeah, there's so many cool uses for the expression pedals these days, and a lot more companies that, like Chase Bliss, who will bring in soon, or Strymon, where you can set it to control what you need.
Yeah,
on the fly.
Yeah, that's very cool. I have a tap tempo little home build thing for a delay pedal on my board, but that's about it. Everything else I got to kind of jump down on the floor and start tweaking knobs.
Yeah,
for.
It's and a lot of the times I've had customers that have come into Pitbull and they said, well, why don't you just get a multi-effect? But I like manual control on the fly. I don't mind stooping down or whatever need be. But there is that growing set of players who wants manual control, and it's cool that Mission Engineering is making stuff like this to control your awesome devices like the Transmisser. And actually, Cusack has a expression control in here too, but they use a proprietary connection, which is BNC, which we do not have.
And is their controller also like a wah pedal type thing?
I think theirs are just like a tap tempo. I don't think they have one, but I know they do have ones that are just small enclosures with just the tap tempo switch on there.
Very cool. Well, we're heading into our first break. Real quick before we go out, do you know the price points for either one of these, the Transmisser or the Tap-A-Whirl?
The Tap-A-Whirl is $325, and the Transmisser, off the top of my head, I do not know. It's $119, I believe, right now for the Mission Engineering's EP1s. And yeah, I don't want to give a false price on the Transmisser. We'll wrap them up again towards the end of the show.
Cool. You want to go ahead and play us out here?
Sure.
The music's going to kick in. It doesn't have a guitar track on it yet because I didn't have time to lay it on. So this would be a perfect opportunity for you to. It's going to be an F sharp, just so you're ready.
Oh shit!
There we go. Yes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on EnterTalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the EnterTalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
SDP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
Welcome to Sharpen the Axe. Explore the bleeding edge of guitar and bass gear. Discover a sound uniquely your own and cut through the noise with your hosts, Eric Lucero and Paul Berezetsky.
Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
This is Sharpening the Axe, Part 2.
Part 2, Episode 2, technically?
It's still one.
Oh, still one?
1.2.
Yeah, 1.2. The Billy Sheehan interview, I think, as we mentioned earlier. Will
Oh,
be
that's
up
right.
soon.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's right. This is Episode 2.
Episode 2, but we got our first live guest on the line, who is Paul Shedden, the CEO and head of sales over at Mission Engineering. Are you there, Paul?
I am indeed. Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome on. How's your day been?
I kept dry, which is a big one at the moment, right? It's been a good day. We're moving premises next week, so it's a bit hectic, but it's all good.
Nice. So there's some big things coming from Mission Engineering then.
Things I can't talk about, but yeah, certainly we're moving premises. So yeah.
Awesome.
You
Right
might have
on.
to kill all of us in this office if you did talk about it, but it's awesome stuff.
Either that or I might get killed when I get back to the office tomorrow. Yeah.
No, we don't need that. So how long has Mission Engineering been a company now?
We're in our 7th year. We actually started, which is quite an interesting place to start, I guess, because my business partner, James, who I've known about 30 years, built one pedal for a guy in a church band in Austin, Texas. And he happened to put a few tweets, etc. out. Well, actually, it wasn't tweets back then, but some posts on the internet. And then people started saying, hey, that's amazing. Would you build me one? And that's how Mission was born. So, yeah, we're in our 7th year now.
Nice. So it spread from word of mouth initially.
Yeah, we're only in America, right? You know, you come up with an idea or from nowhere. Next thing you know, you're building in your garage. And then it turns into a real business, and that's exactly the way Mission started.
Right on. And was the initial pedals that your partner there built expression pedals, or was it something else?
Yeah, no, it's an expression pedal. So, say literally, the lead guitarist in the church band was complaining about the one he had, and James, being James, just to give you a bit of background, he was on the team at Intel that originally developed voice recognition. So he's just a very, very clever guy.
Nice.
He just went, hey, I'll build you one. Yeah, it was nothing to him. So he went off and he spent ages going through different off-the-shelf parts back then. Obviously, now it's all bespoke. But back then, found the right chassis, right potentiometers, etc. When he was happy with it, which for James takes a long time, but he went there, here you go. And he tried it and went, wow, this thing's amazing. And that's where it's supposed to stop.
And now you guys have a lot more than just the expression pedals, but starting on those, what separates the Mission Engineering expression pedals from the rest out there?
Good question. Well, I mean, the first thing is, I mean, James really, off the back of the way people reacted, realised that there was a lot of frustration out there with other expression pedals without naming other brands, because they do use off-the-shelf potentiometers, and that's the key component inside any expression pedal. Literally, it takes voltage normally supplied by the connected gear, and it at heel down it sends zero back out, and at toe down, fully rotated on the potentiometer, it sends out the maximum send. Obviously, there's different value pots, 10K, 25K pots, etc. So with off-the-shelf pots, the danger is you put them into an expression pedal, and when you go from heel to toe down position, sometimes they overclock, they go more than one rotation, in which case you get dead spots. Sometimes they don't do a full rotation, in which case, you don't actually reach the full saturation, value of reverb or volume, whatever you're trying to control with the expression pedal. So ours are actually designed to work with the components of the chassis itself. So there's obviously teeth on the actual cog that attaches the potentiometer, and then there's a long plastic stick that has plastic teeth too, and it's designed to work together so that when you move from heel to toe down position, you get exactly one rotation of the pot, which is obviously important for the connected gear. And then we made our pots completely air and water tight. Again, very important, because if dust gets in, you can get scratchy pots and issues with them. And then obviously we worked on the ergonomics of it. We decided that we wanted to go somewhere between, something big sweep like a Ernie Ball volume pedal, but bigger than, say, a Dunlop Crybaby. Because obviously the thing with expression pedals, you're using it for multiple uses. You're not just using it for reverb delay. It might be used for volume sweeps. So it has to try and be a kind of a jack of all trades.
Nice. And you guys actually do have quite a variety of different ones for different uses out there. And you have some for Helix and the other modelers, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a headache. So probably the reason that we're the only people in the world that take this seriously is because you do have to wire these things differently depending on what they're attached to. You have to put a different pot in them depending on what they're attached to, and so on. So we had to keep all these components in stock because we don't know, obviously, what's going to be ordered next. And then we build specifically for the attached gear. And then things like the Helix, etc., came about through basically going to NAMM for the last 6-7 years and meeting these other companies like Line 6 and then agreeing kind of joint projects. And hence we had the co-branded, as you say, a Line 6 pedal for the Helix and actually for all Line 6 gear. So that's quite exciting because from our point of view, we don't actually compete with anyone. It's not like we're bringing out a pedal that, say, Line 6 specifically want to own that part of the market themselves. Same with Kemper. We build one for the Kemper because Kemper don't build one. So it's quite a nice conversation when you walk up to these guys and say, hey, I mean, we're talking years back now, and saying we'd like to actually help your amazing gear be even more amazing in terms of creativity and control. And it's you don't normally get much of a pushback, and that opens the door to at least start that conversation.
Awesome, right on. And you guys also build a couple wahs, right, for bass and guitar?
Yeah, again, so I mean, I use this in the loosest possible term for me when I say we're all guitarists, but we are all guitarists. So when we look to design new products, we think of it with guitar playing mindsets, if you like. So that came about because there's so many different wahs out there in terms of the way they sound and behave, that James said, well, why do I have to buy half a dozen wah pedals? Why can't I just have one that will emulate all of those famous wahs? So the Rewah Pro, which I think is the pedal you're talking about, we do one for the bass specific as well. It has switching inside that allows you to send the guitar signal actually through different components on the board. Hence, it's a play on word, rewah, a bit tongue-in-cheek, I know. But that's where the Rewah name came up from. And so if you want extra bass boost or if you want to make it sound more vintage, you can just play around with the internal switching. There's 16 variations of different signal path choices that make the wah kind of sound quite a bit different because of the size of the inductor. Again, I'm not sure how familiar your audience is with the way wah pedals works, but the key part in there, like the potentiometer and expression pedal and the wah pedal, it's the inductor. We use an inductor that's probably twice the size of a regular inductor. You'd find it typically in the sound system for cinemas and things. So you actually get a much bigger sweep from low frequency to high frequency, which means that when you start sending the guitar signal through different components, you can really make that sound dramatically different. So yeah, that was the concept. Quite a funny story if you want to hear it. So having spent, I think it was 12 or 14 months developing this thing, James and I went into Guitar Play magazine. This is back, I think, in December 2012. And we were met by Art Thompson and some of the other editors at the door. And we went, here you go, guys, Rewire Pro. And they all looked at us and went, really, guys, another wah pedal? We went, oh. I mean, our jaws were on the floor. It's like, really? We just spent 12, 14 months developing this thing. So anyway, they took us into their live room, which, trust me, it's like a kid in the candy shop. Every bit of gear you could imagine was in there. The shame of it is they stripped the whole thing down. Now it doesn't exist. And they sat down, they played, and with about 2 to 3 minutes even, that quick, they went, take it all back. This thing's amazing. There's not a single part of the sweep that you can't use. Quite often in wire pedals, there's bits where you go, oh, no, it's just ear piercing, can't stand it. They went, yeah, we love it. And that was just on the regular setting without even engaging any of the switches. And we made it on the front cover of Pedal Mania off the back of it.
Nice.
So we knew we were kind of onto a winner at that point because we got the approval of guys that started off by saying, really, another wah pedal? So it worked out pretty good.
Right on. And while we still got time, I wanted to cover one of the products you make that a lot of people don't know that they need, which is the Expressionator.
Oh, yes. Very cool piece of kit. I'm pretty safe in saying it's unique in the marketplace. So, again, the concept was there with more and more of these amazing pieces of kit that you can choose for your pedal board. You know, the space to put these things is becoming more and more valuable. So we thought, well, before the Expressionator, the solution for controlling multiple pieces of equipment was to have an expression pedal for each. So what the Expressionator cleverly does is, and this thing's maybe 3 inches by 1.5 inches by 1 inch, weighs next to nothing. You plug one expression in at the front end, and then you can connect up to 3 external devices, and you can control those devices in any kind of combination, so individually, or outputs 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, or 1, 2 and 3. And then it has things like different sweeps in it. You even have things like reverse sweeps. Now, that's pretty cool if you're trying to control, say, a reverb and a delay. You probably don't want to saturate your guitar signal with both the delay and the reverb at the same time. So if you put one in reverse, what you can do is, as you push towards toe down position, you know, the delay backs off and the reverb comes in. And the nice thing about it is when you switch it off, it remembers everything that how you set it up, and there's sawtooths in there and different kinds of sweeps. And the whole thing is very visual too. There are 3 different color LEDs representing each channel. And when you select a channel, there's like an overall control line that lights up. So first of all, you can see which direction the pedal is actually sweeping. Is it regular or reverse? You know, the lights go forward or backwards. You can tell by the color which of the 3 channels you're controlling. So you're on a dark stage, you can look down and have some pretty confidence, you know, which channel you're on and which of the outboard effects you're actually controlling.
Yeah, it's a crazy clever device, and it saves up so much room on a pedal board now. I mean, people can even downsize by just having that even clipped right next to, or not clipped but on top, right next to their one expression pedal.
Yeah, and the other nice things about it are it will actually send CV control. So like if you want to control it for more vintage gear, and sorry, I just forgot what I was about to say. Oh yeah, we have adapters for things like line 6 gear if you want to use line 6, because they have to have TS connectors, and it as you say, it takes up hardly any room at all, and it remembers, you know, where you left it, so you haven't got to reprogram it when you start it back up. Nice. And
to cover some other products that you guys make that a lot of people might not know that engineering has is the Gemini amps and speakers.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm probably most excited or proud about those. They're probably just over a year old now. Again, it was kind of a gap in the market. They're full range flat response, and for those listeners that maybe don't understand the concept of that, you know, if you can imagine a keyboard, you hit the bottom note on the keyboard and you hit the top note on the keyboard. That's kind of a full range in terms of frequencies. Guitar amps obviously are designed to kind of cover those middle frequencies. Now, that's fine if you're using a regular guitar and a tube amp setup, and that's the sound you want. But the moment you start using it with a modular, such as the Helix or the 11 rack or the Kemper or Fractal or any of that amazing gear that's out there now. Those guys actually do the programming so that it needs to go through a full range flat response system for it to sound right. And the reason you want it to be flat and not add anything, if you like, to the character is imagine kind of pulling up a Fender emulation on whichever of those models you happen to own, but then playing it through a Marshall. You're now going to have something that doesn't sound like either, because you've got a Fender emulation through a Marshall cab, and they're colouring the sound. So by keeping it flat and not adding anything to the overall sound of what it's receiving, it faithfully reproduces what's coming from the modeler. And then we went obviously a step further, and we built in USB and Bluetooth. The USB is very cool because if you connect it to your favourite DAW like Cubase, Pro Tools, Logic, whichever, it sees it as a sound card. So you can record to and from the Gemini, and it's 192 kilohertz at 24-bit. It's pristine AD-DA converters built into this thing. So it's actually a very economical way of getting analog into your digital environment. And basically anything you play through the Gemini, and of course it'll take keyboards, even vocals can go through the Gemini because it is full range and flat response. You can record directly into your favorite DAW.
Wow.
That's very cool. You should have seen Eric's eyes light up when you mentioned that.
Yeah, like USB and Bluetooth, right? Direct recording? All right, I'm in.
That's super
cool.
Paul,
the Bluetooth could be a bit cheesy, but I look at it as I have one in my front room, and I like to just pick up my iPhone, pick a band that I like, Bluetooth it directly to the Gemini, and play along. And because it's full range and flat response, the guitar doesn't sit on top of the music. It actually sits in with the music. You can hear the kick drums, you can hear the cymbals, because you've got that full range capability of the Gemini. So, close your eyes and you're up on stage with your favourite band.
Nice.
Very cool. Speaking of which, can you talk about any players that use your gear?
Oh, man. It's kind of a who's who. They're all listed on our web store. The thing I'm most proud of is the fact that these guys all came to us. We didn't approach a single artist. They all paid for their gear because we still are a small company compared with the large companies out there. We can't afford to give gear away, quite frankly. So again, word of mouth, through the guitar techs or through the management, sometimes the artist direct. We've got people like Metallica on there. We have Dweezil Zappa, the Black Keys, Sharon Aguilar from CeeLo Green. We just sent 20 plus pedals up to Journey. Just a huge list of artists using our pedals.
Journey needs 20 of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? 22 actually, to be precise.
Nice.
Crazy, it's like, what? We don't sell that to some of our stores on a regular basis, let alone to one artist. So yeah, we're very blessed, and again, we'd like to think, it's probably partly because no one else is doing it, so there isn't much choice if you want a decent quality expression pedal out there, but we really do make them the best we possibly can with the best components all made here in the USA, and so we hope it's because they just work so well that people want them, not just because it's the only choice.
For your mission engineering users and potential mission engineering users out there, are there any little tips or tricks you can offer?
Tips or tricks? That's a wide subject. I mean, not that I can really think of. You must have a TRS cable. I mean, that's one of the biggest customer support call we get. We don't get many in fairness because it's not that difficult to operate an expression pedal, apart from the programming side, and that's to do with the gear it's connected to, not the pedal. Is that most people don't appreciate you have to have a TRS stereo cable to operate an expression pedal, with the exception of Line 6 who use a TS cable, a regular guitar mono cable. That's because of the way the connected device understands where it is in the sweep between the heel and the toe down position. and so you have to use a TRS cable. If you plug in anything else, it won't work. So if you buy an expression pedal from us, or from anywhere actually for that matter, make sure you use a TRS cable.
Right on. Well, let's see. Any more questions I can think of on here? Do you guys have any sort of like a custom shop? Because I mean, you guys kind of have the variety of finishes on available, but do you guys ever do any custom work, or can customers ask for that?
Not crazy stuff. We get. I mean, for example, I'll clear this one up straight away. We quite often get people ring up and say, "Hey, could you just put the jacks on the front of the pedal, or could you do some pretty major design changes?" What people don't probably appreciate, and I completely understand why would they, right? They're not designing these things. Is that, for example, the cost of a mold to make the chassis in, is tens and tens of thousands of dollars, and they have a limited lifespan. Because obviously pouring molten zinc, etc., into the mould by the thousand eventually wears out the mould, and you have to spend and reinvest all over again making another mould. So to do major cosmetic changes like changing jack positions, etc., just isn't possible. We can't afford to keep making moulds, but we do. We think offer all the obvious kind of accessories for another different. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me give you examples. We have a spring load. So if you have a fractal or a Kempo or anything that has auto engage, which is a function, broadly speaking, that cleverly detects when zero voltage is being sent to the device in the heel position, and says, when I receive a zero voltage, you want me to turn this effect off. And so what these different modelers do is, with the spring load, the moment you step off the pedal, our spring returns the pedal to the heel position, sends a zero signal out. The device then goes, zero signal, this needs to be switched off. Now that's really good for things like wah, whammy, things that you wouldn't want to accidentally leave on in a live performance. So we have spring loads for that purpose. Some of our models take LEDs. Again, some people like to visually look down and go, damn, did I switch that thing on or off? And look at the LED, you know where you're at. We do offer quite a few colour choices as well. We have Struth, everything from a plain metal finish through to red, green, black, blue, white, and then we do the zebra kind of colorings. We do carbon fiber look. So we have a lot of color choices. So the problem with any company is, if people come to you saying, hey, can I possibly have this or whatever, is that, especially with us, because we already carry so many different components to make up the pedals depending on what it's connected to in terms of potentiometers and wiring and everything, to carry more chassis colors than we already do makes it actually difficult from a cash flow point of view as a business to actually do that. Because if you choose to do something a bit out there and no one wants it, those things sit on the shelf until you think of something else to use them for.
Right on. Hey, thank you for offering. This is the first time I've ever had a company, when I asked about anything custom, to actually offer me a detailed explanation as to why it can't happen, aside from an email or a phone call saying just no. So I definitely appreciate that.
We get that a lot, but I think I come back to the point I made earlier on. We're all guitarists and musicians, and we understand the frustration of guitarists. I mean, little things like every pedal we ship, an amp for that matter, goes through 2 independent checks to make sure that they're working correctly, they've been set up correctly. What I mean by that is we have an adjustable tension on the pedals so you can make them easier or more difficult to move. Not just once but twice. Now, components fail, and human error, every now and again one slips. I think we've had like 26 pedals back in 7 years with genuine faults. But we work really hard to make sure that the end user experience is, you take that thing out of the box, whatever it is you bought from us, you plug it in and it works. Because we've all been on the receiving end of receiving gear, getting really excited about it, plug it in, and it doesn't work, and you're back to the store to get it swapped out. So, we try very hard to make sure that, customers get quality and it works the way, it's meant to.
Awesome.
Is there any pedals that are personal favorites of yours to pair this with, that it was just made for each other kind of thing?
Well, obviously we do the specific pedals, if that's what the question is. We do a specific pedal for the Helix. In fact, it's the only pedal that works with the Helix properly. Line 6 are now selling it from their web store. We build the EP1 KP, which is for the Kemper again. It's the only pedal with a momentary switch, etc. You need to control the Kemper. So we have our pedal specifics, but we try to build other kind of more generic pedals, or obvious pedals like our volume pedal, our VM Pro, to work with as much gear as possible. The VM Pro actually is probably a good example of that. It again has very clever innovation built in. We try to build in innovation wherever we can. What's the point in putting out something that someone else is already doing a good job of? So in the VM Pro, there's switches that allow you to do things like trick fuzz pedals, even vintage fuzz pedals, into thinking they're still the first in the chain. So you can do swells on a fuzz pedal. We have another switch we call the sparkle switch. Now, quite often when you, as a guitarist, you'll know this, go towards heel down position, you lose some of those top end frequency, it becomes a bit dull and the detail goes. So by clicking the sparkle switch, it progressively puts in more top end, so that no matter how low you go on the apart from zero, you can still hear all the detail and the tone coming through from the to the amp, basically. So we have a maximum volume, so you can do changes between rhythm part to lead part and back just by setting the minimum volume at the heel position to a different point. So we try to think, well, if we're going to bring out a pedal, how can we make this work in as many situations as possible? Our Delta 3 distortion pedal, it's not just a distortion pedal, it's up to a 10 dB of clean boost. It's an EQ for bass and treble, and it's a tri-stage distortion, so it goes all the way through the different forms of distortions that are out there, so that between those different knob combinations, you should almost be able to find a use for it, all kinds of use. Use it just as a boost pedal, use it just as an EQ, use it just as a form of distortion, or use them in combination,
Very cool, Paul. I'm sorry, we're running out of time here. We're 30 seconds left. Can you quickly give us where can people find out more about your product, website, Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, we have a full list of our dealers on our web store, both domestic and international.
But always go Pitbull
Audio. And of course, Pitbull Audio, say no more. Yeah, you guys have been great. The web store is missionengineering.com, www.missionengineering.com, and as I say, yeah, absolutely, Pitbull Audio, and feel free to pick up the phone. We're a pretty friendly bunch, and we're more than happy to back
awesome
questions.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Hey, no, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good evening, guys.
You too, man.
You've been listening to Sharpen the Axe. Tune in next week for another gear review and, of course, a great guest. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next show.